Hello everyone, Kaoz here, and welcome to another old school RuneScape video. I love the runecrafting skill so much that I have nearly 26 million experience as I am still hunting for the pet. To a lot of you that is going to sound absolutely demented, but what if I told you there are goals which are hundreds of times more ridiculous that people actually go for? Well, that is what we are going to talk about today, as we will dive into some of old school RuneScape's longest grinds of all time. For this topic, I have to include some very obvious disclaimers, and the most important one is that all of the hours you see in this video are very rough estimations of how long someone would have to spend to get all of the goals we talk about today. For the second one, everything we talk about today will be based on unrestricted accounts. Safe to say, people who play on Ironman or even hardcore Ironman accounts will take even longer to get these done. And fellas, a very quick honorable mention to the combat achievements which were released in July, and only a very small amount of players have beaten it. I have this one outside the top 5 because unlike the other grinds we will talk about, this one is completely up to skill, and depending on how good a player is at the game, it could take a few hundred hours to complete. On the other hand, if you struggle to beat bosses like Jad, Zulra, or even Vorkath, and you want to fill up those combat achievements, you might need to spend a ridiculous amount of time grinding those. So keep in mind, I didn't forget about this one, it's just that it's slightly different than the other topics we will talk about. That being said, let's take a look at 5 of the longest grinds in old school RuneScape, from the not so bad to the most insane ones. So let's begin. Starting off the list, we are going to talk about every single best in slot item, not only for combat, but also for fashion. What you guys are seeing right now on screen is a little compilation of all of the gear you would need in order to claim the title of one of the wealthiest players in old school RuneScape. Now, there are a couple of things to note here. What you guys are seeing right now is basically all of the gear you can wear at once, and I am not taking into consideration all of the special weapons needed, all of the switches that you can take for very niche bosses and very niche mechanics or whatever you call it. So it is going to be a little more than that, but if you grab everything you are seeing right now, it is going to take shy of 12 billion GP in old school RuneScape for you to achieve. Now, how long is this going to take? If we go to the corrupted gauntlet, which is going to make you anywhere between 5 and 6 million GP per hour with absolutely nothing, it is going to be 2,000 to 3,000 hours, give or take. It's around 2,000 hours, but you know, it can be even longer if you don't get lucky with those special drops, especially the enhanced crystal weapon seed. If you start from nothing and you start making money here, you are going to be able to buy even more powerful items to help you in even better grinds that are going to be more profitable and lucrative, like the Nightmare, the Theater of Blood, the Chambers of Zarek, and much more that are going to give you even more money per hour if you do it solo, if you split it with your friends. And also, one important thing to note is that what you are seeing right now is going to change in even just a few weeks or months, as we are going to have a new best in slot armor for melee coming up. We have Torba, and also for ranged, we are going to have the Masori armor and the amulet that are going to come from next and raids 3 respectively. Because of that, those items might bump this price all the way up to 13, 14, 15 billion GP. And of course, the last thing to note is that we are not talking about street prices. Now, I searched and searched far and low, and if you guys are seeing it right now on screen, right now I could not find the street price for any of these items. So let's just imagine that they are slightly more expensive. So yeah, all of the 3rd age druidic pieces, the 3rd age pickaxe, all of that is going to add even more to the price that we are going to have to achieve if we want all of the best items in old school RuneScape. Up next, we have a goal I have personally achieved, and from this list, it's honestly the only one I will ever get in my time of playing old school RuneScape, and that is maxing an account. Now, like I said before, this is based on an unrestricted account, and Ironman, Hardcores, and even Ultimate Ironman are going to have it even more difficult. But for this one, I based my estimate on a video I made previously, which is how fast you can max a RuneScape account, well, an old school account. If you do everything flawlessly, tick perfect, tick manipulation, and basically have bot-like mechanics and reaction time, it is going to take about 1,600 hours to max an account if you do it speedrun, in a speedrunning fashion. Now, this is very unlikely for you to do, but a more I would say viable estimate would be anywhere between 2,000 and 3,000 hours if you do everything as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. Now, it took me personally 4,000 hours to max my account, so I would say that it would take anywhere between 4,000 to 6,000 hours to max an account if you do everything I would say in a more relaxed way, and if you take your time to do all of the quests, all of the achievement diaries. Now, this doesn't take into account all of the money you would have to make if you don't want to spend money on bonds to sell it and then use that to train your account. So that is going to be kind of like a give or take, I would say, estimation of hours if you want to max an unrestricted account. If your account has more hours than this and you are nowhere near maxed, don't worry, it is obviously going to be, a very difficult and stressing goal that you can potentially do, but this is pretty much the easiest one that you can get if we are not talking about RNG stuff like making enough money to get all of the best in slot gear like we said in the previous one. So this one is a set goal that you can get in a set amount of hours, and that is not going to depend on anything else other than how much experience per hour you can get in every single skill as you are logged into RuneScape. So maxing comes in at number 4, and I would say the most doable of all of the ones we are going to talk about today. Guys, before we continue, if you are not yet part of the 14% of viewers who is subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit that big red button below, like the video for the YouTube overlords, and of course check out the description below to join our wonderful and active Discord community to interact with all of us. So, thank you, and let's continue. Starting off the top 3, we're gonna talk about getting every single pet in old school RuneScape, and like I said at the beginning of the video, this is where the very, very rough estimates are going to start coming into play. What you guys are seeing right now is an average kills per hour as well as hours you would need in order to get every pet you are looking for. There are many things to note here. Number 1, as you will be able to see, I am going to assume that you will get the pet at the time that you hit the drop rate. Statistically speaking, we all know that this is not the case. You could get it at the drop rate. It's every time you kill a boss is 50-50. Either you get it or you don't. Like the meme we see very often on social media. But let's just assume that you get it on drop rate. This is the amount of time that you would need to spend in order to get every single pet, which is about 14,000 hours. Now, a few things to note, and as you will see, some of them are going to look ridiculous, some of them are going to look very easy, like the Kaoz Elemental, the Kraken pet, the Thermonuclear Smoke Double, the Mole, but also this is taking into account a very moderate kill per hour amount, I would say, and if you don't have great gear, this is obviously going to be much lower, and the time to get the pet is going to be, obviously higher, and whatever pet you want to go for, I would say that if you don't have money to fund every single best in slot item for you to go pet hunting, maybe focus on the ones that you can do with melee, magic, ranged, and then focus on those so you can get great gear to get even more kills per hour, and hopefully that is going to increase that time. Now, obviously, some people can get spooned and you can get a pet in 1 KC, 20 KC, even less than the required KC to get into the high scores, which is 50. And another one to note here is one of my favorite ones, which is the Bloodhound. I'm going to assume that you can do around 1 master per hour, and if you do it super sweaty, you can get maybe 2 or 3 if you are an amazing player. But the Bloodhound, yeah, I have seen people going extremely dry, or I have seen so many people with less than 50 KC getting this one. So yeah, I am very jealous of all of you. So this is one that is going to cement you as one of the top collectors in the entire game, as you will get all 48 of your little buddies. And the last thing to note here is that this one doesn't stop there, as every time there's a new boss or a new activity added to the game, like recently we've had the Temple Ross, the Soul Wars activity, Nightmare, you're going to have to grind in order to get every single one of them. And this is one that will always update as long as Jagex keeps making bosses and content for us to enjoy. The runner-up grind on this list is going to be getting 200 million experience in every single skill of old school RuneScape. This is especially notorious because only 23 players have achieved this goal in 8 years of the game being alive as of recording this video. 2 players are very close to making it to the top 25, which is going to fill up the entire front page of the high scores, and no one else is going to be able to be on that prestigious top 25. For this one, I'm also going to have a lot of assumptions, some of which you can watch on screen right now. And I also made a video on this, which is what are the fastest training methods available to you, and this is what we are going to assume for experience per hour obtained in order to get to all of those 200 million experience. Thanks to all of these estimations that you guys are seeing on screen, it will take around 17,000 hours of gameplay in order to get every single skill capped out at 200 million experience. That is getting Lava runes for rune crafting, 70,000 experience per hour. If you do Slayer in multi-combat areas, you can get 70, 80,000 experience per hour. Getting all of your gathering skills 3-ticking, like fishing, mining, hunter, and of course the most expensive buyables, which are going to be herblore, construction, crafting, cooking, and that is not taking into account all of the money that you will need to get in order to get the 200 million experience in those nice and juicy buyables as well. For this one, I found a very interesting example of the ranked 2 player who's called Hey Jace, and while doing research for this video, I found on a Reddit post that he said somewhere on social media that he played around 12 hours a day for 6 years in a row. I do not know if he took some days off in order to, get some vacation time with family or whatever. He's a very cool guy who streams on Twitch if you want to check out his post 200 mil all endeavors, his completion series, and yeah, you can go ahead and learn from one of the best. And this is one that I don't ever think I will get. Even getting 200 million cooking experience, which you're just literally standing there waiting for your fish to be cooked, sounds like an absolute grind. Right now I only have, only in quotation marks, right? I only have 90 million cooking experience, and getting 200 mil doesn't sound very attractive anymore. So imagine getting it for rune crafting, mining, fishing. That's something I will never do in my entire life. 200 mil experience goes to number 2. And finally, to no one's surprise, the king of grinds in old school RuneScape is going to be filling up the collection log. Now, this one is here because literally no one in old school RuneScape has ever gotten it, and from a few Jagex moderators, they said that it's kind of impossible for someone to get this goal, especially because of all of the third age items that you get in the collection log. If you exclude those, it's going to be more doable, but just imagine if you get the pets alone, that's going to be around 14,000 hours if you have all of those. And also, if you get all of the pets, we are going to assume that you have all of the other items that you get from the bosses if you are killing those, all of the activities, the mini games, but the most important ones are the clue scrolls, as well as a few other notable ones that I will mention in a little bit. So for the clue scrolls, we have all of those items that are going to be extremely rare, that you will be able to get in a few thousand caskets that you can potentially open. Not only that, but we also have a few notable ones, and the most interesting one that I could potentially found were the Revenants. For this one, they have those special drops that are the Vigorous Chainmains, the Crossbow, and also the Thameron Scepter, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, who, if you kill dragons, if you are not Skulled, have a 1 in 40,000 drop, and if you are Skulled with the, I believe it's called the Amulet of Avarice, I think, it is going to be a 1 in 22,000 drop, but that is for the dragon. If you kill anything lower than that, the drop rate is going to go up by so much, and it sounds like one of the absolute worst things you can do, and something that's based on RNG. So this one is going to be one of the best things that you can possibly do, and something that I'm also pretty confident no one will ever get in the history of old school RuneScape, at least for RuneScape 3. I don't even know if there's someone who has completed the entire collection log, at least for the clue scrolls, but we are getting into RuneScape 3 territory as I'm rambling at this point. But let's just see if in maybe 10 or 20 years time someone actually completes the log, and that person will be cemented in RuneScape history for the entire time of the game being alive. And guys, that's pretty much it. 5 of the longest grinds I'm pretty sure 99.9% of us will never get in our entire time playing old school RuneScape. Even maxing sounds like a kind of a hassle for most players, but hey, as long as you're having fun, it doesn't matter if you get any of these goals. You do you, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Thank you so much to all my channel members. If you would like to join and support this channel monetarily, you can go ahead and click the join button below in order to find out all of the nice and cool perks you can get for your monetary support, both in Discord, in the channel, and on my live streams. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video, where again, I don't know what I'll be doing. There's a nice pool of videos that I want to do, so keep an eye out on the community tab. Again, thank you guys for watching, have a great week, and I'll see you then. Peace!